Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. My name is Tomi Daniels. I film about faith, relationships, lifestyle, property, and I feel like there's more. But yeah, there's definitely something for you here. So if you're yet to subscribe, can I please kindly ask that you subscribe now? And as you watch this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please, it really does help. And also leave a comment in the comment section. I love to read from you and hear from you and know what you think about this video. Okay, in today's video, as I said, I'll film about relationships, love, marriage. This is a love marriage video. It's one of the things I love to talk about most. And so yeah, today I'm going to be talking about, as you've seen from the title, I'm talking about don't marry for love. But what I really mean is don't just marry for love, but marry because of these other things in addition to love. These are the things I'm about to mention in this video. All right, keep watching. Okay, I've actually made the note of the points and I'm going to start. First thing is, apart from love, marry someone that you like. Marry, this is so important. It seems like such a small point, but it's so important. Marry someone that you like, someone that you enjoy being around, someone that you actually like you have a friendship with. And this is not to say, because some people, this is not this is not to say, oh, you have to have dated for like X amount of years before you get married in order to like them or be friends with them. No, but like it doesn't have to be so long. But it's about like someone that you genuinely like, you enjoy their company, you like them. So even if love wasn't in the equation, you still like them. So it's just so important. In addition to love, as I've said. Number 2, marry someone that you can be your true self around. So important. Someone that you're very comfortable with, someone that you don't need to pretend to be around. Yes, when you're going on a first date, everyone is putting their best foot forward. Before you get to a point where you're deciding to marry someone, you should have gotten to a point where you're really comfortable with them. You can tell them your deepest thoughts, like those secrets. Like you can be comfortable enough to share, those parts of yourself that you wouldn't share, with just anybody or people, with other people in that way. But you need to be comfortable and be able to be your true self. Someone that you can laugh with, someone that you can be silly with. Like, you don't have to be all put together all the time when you're with them. And if you want to be put together as well, fine. But someone that in all seasons you can be with them, you can see yourself being with them, you because you like them, you genuinely enjoy their company, and you're comfortable with them. It's so important to make sure that you're comfortable with the person that you get married, and someone that you can be your true self, and someone that you can be your true self around. Okay, number 3 is don't marry. This one is a big one in Christendom. Don't marry because they said it's the one. Marry because and have heard from God for yourself. By they said, it could even be I think this video is directed more to ladies, but I'm sure that it applies to guys as well. But when people say, oh, God said, that's your husband, or God said, this is the person, and maybe because you already like the person to start off with, so you're just, every little thing is leading you there, and anybody that just sort of makes a comment about it, you're like, yes, this indeed must be God. So it's important to seek counsel when you want to get married to someone. It's not just, don't just go your decision of, I love him and God has told me I'm fine. But it's important, get the counsel of those that you're accountable to. So your parents, your pastors, people that you're accountable to. Get their counsel, but at the end of the day, make sure that you know for yourself. This is absolutely crucial, because you're the only one that is really going to live with this person day in, day out. Every other person can say the things. Sometimes it could even be the person, so your husband to be or whatever, saying, oh, God said you're my wife. But if you don't believe that, if God hasn't told you that, if you've not seen any sign, that is telling you that as well, or God hasn't told you that for yourself personally, you don't do it. Some people as well, they'll be like, when they want to get married, their parents would take them to they have pastors or prophets, or and they say, oh, this prophet said that's your wife, or this prophet says it's not. Again, as I said, it's important to get counsel, but you can't base your decision to marry someone just on outside counsel. You also need to know from God. And this is so important, because when you go through, and I remember before I got married, I was I wrote about, there were like 9 things that God told me or that happened that made me know that Shay was my husband. If it's your first time here, by the way, Shay is my husband. There are about 9 things I wrote, and the reason I wrote them down was because I was like, if we go through like tough times or challenges, in marriage, like, and, to the point that maybe you're questioning, is this God? I mean, to be honest, I've never had to, and in pretty much 5 years of marriage, thank God. If you go through tough times, and that may even make you start questioning, like, did I do the right thing? Like, because I've written them down, like, I can always go back to them to read it. And it was just for me to be able to remind myself of, this is why I said yes, or this is why I agreed, to go on the journey with him. And again, going back to like getting counsel, again, I remember like with Shay as well, like I took it because obviously feelings were involved for myself, so it's very possible that I wasn't hearing from God, and it was just my feelings that that were leading at that point. So I was like telling God, I was like, God, obviously where my heart is at this point. Like, I really like this guy, but if he's not the one, that, and maybe I'm just not hearing you and I can't hear you properly right now, then maybe please tell these other people that I'm accountable to, people that I've opened up myself to. And yeah, I'm accountable to. And for me, these people were that would have been, whose words would have carried a lot of weight, would have been like my parents, my sisters, and my pastors as well. Well, probably, yeah, especially my pastors. And it was just to bring it to them and say, God, at least if I'm not hearing, they can hear you. So now, if at any point, when I was getting married, if they said, oh, God said it's not Shay, I won't just take their word for it. I need to go back to God, and God needs to tell me that as well. So I think what the why this is important is just the synergy. You need to know, like, and people around you should know as well, but more importantly, or most importantly, you need to know. And if you don't know yet, maybe you're dating, you're with someone, but you're not 100% sure, I think that you can take a step back and be sure before you say yes, before you say I do. Okay, so don't just marry because they said they are the one, either the person themselves or your parents, prophets and pastors and one pastor, no, or your friend, or people have dreams, even dreams, even when people are having dreams and saying it must be the one. Because I also remember, like, there were people like before Shay that I already liked, and then so maybe some people in church are making comments about like, oh, this person, and then all of a sudden you just latch onto it and think, oh, she's really spiritual, and because she said that must be it. But it was because I already liked them. When they were saying that about people I didn't like, it's almost like, please I just shut it down at that time. So yes, don't marry someone just because they said is the one. Marry someone because and have heard from God about them. And I think closely linked to that is marry a Christian. Again, this video, I'm a Christian, so all of the points or everything that I say, like the foundation of that is Christ. So marry someone that is a Christian. To be honest, it baffles me. It really, really baffles me. I feel like it's a different ballgame if you're an unbeliever and you got married as an unbeliever, right? But if as a Christian, it baffles me when I've seen some Christians today, get married to people that are not Christians, or people, and then they say, oh, it doesn't matter, or I'll change them, or God is using me to change them, or now they're getting like. It really baffles, because I'm like, I feel like we've seen so many examples, particularly again if you're in church, and if you're a Christian, you've probably seen so many examples of how our parents and parents did it, where in cases where their partners or their spouses were not in church, and you saw how that affected us. Particularly, a lot what I see a lot is about it's actually women, and then they're coming to church by themselves. Again, I know that people's circumstances are different, which is this doesn't apply if you're married already and you're married as an unbeliever or whatever. But if you're married, regardless, actually, whether you're an unbeliever or not, if you're married already, again, this doesn't necessarily apply to you. You need to walk with what you have right now. But if you're still in the dating process, you're a Christian, you believe in God, you've given your life to Christ, there is no reason, there is no explanation for you to get married to someone that is not of the same faith as you. Like, how do you like agree together? How do you pray together? How do you go through challenges together. Again, it doesn't mean that all Christians, you can marry just any Christian, because you're not necessarily compatible with every single Christian. But I feel like, Christ needs to be the foundation of your home. And, getting married to someone that is a Christian, it also comes with a lot of things. There are so many things that you wouldn't be worried about. I lead the youth in church, and I remember I was telling them, so they're within the ages of like 14 to 18, thereabout. So I remember I was telling them recently, and I was saying that, look, I want my husband to not cheat on me, not just because he loves me, but because he loves God. I want his love for God to be the first reason that he can't do that. And yes, it's nice and cute that he doesn't do it because he loves me so much, and I expect that as well. However, the first reason is I want it to be because of God, because he honors God so much, and he's not gonna be like, oh, until like, oh, you've been so extra, and I was like, genuinely, that's what I believe, and that's one of the pecs, and there's so many. One of the pecs of marrying, someone who's a Christian, whose morals, all of that comes from God. So many things that they wouldn't do, like even in their character. And by Christian, I don't just mean someone that goes to church, but someone that is really, really a Christian. But anyway, let me not overflog that point, but I think you get the point, right? Marry someone that is a Christian. Okay, I don't know what number this is. Marry someone, this is for ladies in particular, and guys too, but marry someone that you can respect and honor, someone that you respect and honor. If you feel like, you struggle to, and this is not to do with age, this is not about marrying someone that is younger or older, this is just someone that you actually can respect. You see yourself, particularly as a woman, when wives are to submit, to their own husbands, you marry someone that you can submit to. If you don't see yourself, if maybe you already don't agree with their decisions, you already think, oh, they're not smart enough, they can't, I'm the one that, makes all the smart decisions, you probably may struggle, you may struggle to be able to submit to them. So I'm not saying that, they have to be better than you in every aspect. No, like it's a partnership at the end of the day, but you need to, as a wife, you need to be able to submit. And I know that submission is a big deal, like oh my god, but as a Christian, again, as I said, I am a Christian, and this is what the Bible says. The Bible talks about submission, and wives are to submit to their own husbands, and husbands are to love their wives. So as a guy, when watching this, make sure that you marry someone that you love, not just someone that you think, oh, she can cook, yeah, I think she's a nice girl. All of that is great, but like, marry someone that you love. The Bible says you should love your wives. As a woman, as a wife, make sure that you marry someone that you can respect, you can honor, you can submit to. If you don't think you can do that, then maybe you should reconsider. Okay? Now, next point is marry someone with potential. Let me explain. This is not potential when it comes to character. This is potential when it comes to what's the word? Like, basically other things apart from character. So character is marry them as they are. Imagine that they don't change with all these character traits that you're saying. Oh, maybe they're a bit short-tempered. Maybe they don't smile often, or like, things that is like, that form their character. Think about this properly. But things about in terms of like where he is today, like his circumstances, maybe finances, maybe job-wise and business-wise, like things may not be all rosy right now, but you can see the potential. And he's not just someone that is, and again, this is not just someone that is just talking big talk and putting no action, but even where they're at, you can see that, they're making steps and taking steps, to do what they need to do and to do what they need to do to grow. And you can hear their vision, something that you can buy into their vision. You can see that, this person is going places, but they're not just going places and waiting for that big break. Whilst where they are at the moment, they are making the most, of what they can, or what they have. Yeah, I think that's the word. They're making the most of what they have whilst still dreaming big. So it's not someone that, because right now I only have a one-bedroom house, they just think, they're always going to live in a one-bedroom house forever and ever. No. At the same time, you don't want to marry someone that says, oh, I'm just going to let's just keep living with my parents till I can afford to buy like a 6-bed house. So even when they get married, they want you to move into their parents' house with them as well. Again, if, you moved into parents' house, maybe, circumstances may be different, but this is just a blanket statement. So that person is waiting for, the person I described, I saying, oh, I'm just waiting for that big break, and then we'll buy a 6-bed mansion mansion and it'll be all great. But right now, with the little that you have, why can't we go get a place and you start doing something, or you just enjoy living off of others? So again, marry with potential, but also make sure that potential, not in terms of their character traits, but in terms of their abilities, in terms of their circumstances. So you can see that this person is moving forward, but not just dreaming the dream, but also taking steps towards it and making the best of what they have at the moment. I feel like there'll be points, like, I just kind of feel like someone may have a particular question about this, and maybe you're watching this. If you can leave that question in the comment section, do so. If you know me personally, or you can just send a message. My contact details, email, Instagram handle is always in the description box, so please do that. Send me a message about it. I'll be more than happy to answer. Okay, last but not the least, don't marry because you've dated for long. Now, again, I know that this can seem like, what? You've invested like all this time, but truth is, like, some people get into relationships when they're really young. I don't advise it. However, some people have, gotten into relationships when they're extremely young and they've gone on to have very successful marriages. But at the same time, because of that, because you're young, you're growing, you're changing, you're getting to know yourself. And then you realize that, say, I don't know, for those that have been in a relationship like 8 years together, but you realize that you've changed so much, you've become a new person, but because you've invested 8 years of your life into that person, you just think, I have to get married to them. Like, yeah, I don't want to waste it. Or it's almost like, and the other point, like, it was a full-on point from this, is don't marry out of sympathy. So if you just feel sorry for them for whatever, maybe you've dated for long, or maybe you promised that you would get married to them, but then you know that you don't really, things have changed, right? Again, I'm not saying this is not you stringing people along. And again, this is why, like, before you get into like a relationship, it's important to know that this is your wife or your husband before you even get into a relationship. But again, if you found yourself in relationships, rather than just stringing each other along, or just thinking, we just need to carry on and say I do. If you know that things have changed, then I think marriage is too long a time for you to make a wrong decision. You don't really want to be miserable in marriage, or just getting by in marriage, because marriage can be sweet, it can be beautiful, it is beautiful. I'm a living testimony of that. So don't marry out of sympathy, don't marry out of oh, we've dated for long, or I've had a child for him, or she's had a child for me. I think that's another like big reason why some people get married. Again, it's not the way God planned it in terms of like having children out of wedlock. However, if things have happened, you've fallen and stuff like that, doesn't mean that you absolutely have to marry the person, and you will still, hey, again, just because you have a child out of wedlock, or you got pregnant at this time, at some point before you getting married, doesn't mean that you don't deserve the best, and God will give you like a second class citizen. No, like, God will still give you the best. So just hold on and don't just get married to them because you've had a child for them, or you're pregnant for them. Okay, all right, I think that brings me to the end of this video. I hope you've learned a thing or two, and these are things that my younger self should have listened. Like, I would have loved to tell my younger self. So I'm also telling you all of these things now. And also, I just want to encourage you that I know, like, you may see a lot of bad press around marriages, and all around you, maybe the experiences you've had around you, maybe family, friends, and it feels like everyone is, you're just saying about divorce, like, left, right, and center. I do want to tell you that marriage can be beautiful, and marriage is created to be beautiful. God's intention for marriage is for it to be very good, and God's intention for marriage, for you in particular, is for your marriage to be very good. And there are very good examples of marriage around. Again, you may not know me, you may not believe what I'm saying, but like, my marriage, like, is an example of a good marriage, I believe, and you can have one too. You can have one. So don't just settle for less and just think, I'll just accept it. It is what it is. Like, not everyone, the grass isn't greener on the other side. I know we say that a lot. But again, change your expectations. If you're thinking like you just need to survive and get by in marriage and manage with all the, like, change your mindset and just start begin to think that and begin to know in your spirit, man, that your marriage will be good. Your marriage, not just good, great, actually. Okay, all right. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tomi Daniels. Please leave a comment on this video. What do you agree with? What do you not agree with? What points would you like to add, to this video? Also, please make sure you share this video to someone that you think can benefit from it. And if you're that person that had a question, particularly around potential, I believe that's what I was talking about at the time, then please send me a message or leave a comment in the comments section. All right then, thank you for watching. I'm Tomi Daniels. Goodbye.